Hi, and welcome to a new episode on the Luderia world, where today we're going to automate backpacks. To get backpacks, we do need a couple of farms. They're nothing crazy, but I do need to get some space, and because it's mostly animal farms and a little bit of wheat and wood farms, I decided to move over the river. So if we want to situate ourselves, that's the coin mint. We have our deck building farm over there. We've got the city right there. So we're across from the river, and I feel like we would have enough space over here to get what we need to do. We're going to start off with something very simple. I think I'm going to try and fit a small wheat farm over here, just so I have wheat in backup and I can have it grow up before we actually need to start growing cows. Okay, let's see. Drawers. Let's start with our storage room. Then, of course, we'll do controller. And then all we need is an access terminal or an IO sheet. I need some of you. Right. I need to get it over here because this is going to be our access point. You know what? For now, I'll just run it over the floor, and then we can decide where things are going to go when we get a building in. So we'll do that. And then I just need to take it down to 61 over here, which is doable. And there we go. So that's going to be our access point over here. And then for the actual device, or the actual farm, get rid of all of this, and then have you barrel on top of this. Then I need some glue and some water going around. And then it's just a matter of just tilling all the soil, getting some seeds in place, and we'll see what happens. Well, we know what's going to happen. Next up, I want to make a cow farm, or at least a leather farm. But to do that, I need to know where I'm going to situate it and how this building is going to be laid out. Because, you know, constraints and space and stuff that I need. So I'm going to get the building in. I'm going to extend that out a little more. Have a drop off, like a retaining wall like we have over there on the back end as well. And yeah, I'll get like a building complex in so that we can fit 2 more farms into this space. And that is the building. Well, it's not done yet. Like we don't have pathways and stuff installed just yet. Most of the floor is still grass, but the building itself is in place. We have everything that we need. We have connection to our storage room already installed in the correct spots. Same goes for there. And then over the river, or across the river, I set up another tower, another one of those towers. Wait, do brackets not load in from that far away? But that's connected to our power station, so we can bring over the power towards here, and then we'll connect it over inside of this little gable. Is that what they're called? I think they're called the gables. But inside of this little window. Before I do that, I do want to set up the farm first, because you know, it's easier to set up the farm and get the exact location of where we want that chain conveyor set up. We already set up the wheat farm, and now we can use that wheat. It's, first of all, it's been going. Look at that. We've already had 450 wheat, which is beautiful. I should remember to bring over some stack upgrades, but we'll do that later. I'm going to build a cow farm, or a leather farm, so that we can use that leather to make backpacks. The way this is gonna work is, honestly, it's a pretty simple design, and farming cows is, again, not that hard, but it does require a little bit of setup. I'm gonna make this two-sided because, you know, double the rates. But let me set up one side, and then I'll figure the rest out later. We are gonna have cows sitting in here in this chamber, and we're gonna feed them wheat using a deployer, which is easy enough to set up. But before we pass them through, we want to filter out the babies, and we're going to do that by simply putting a trapdoor down. This way the adults are going to stay up here, babies are going to go down, and then get transported onto the belt over to our crushing wheels. There is a chance of entity cramming, and that way things end up onto the belt, and then they kind of back up and they make it so that babies can't pass through all the way. So what I'm going to do is simply that, which is going to take all of those byproducts and send them into our storage system as well. One thing I noticed while designing this farm is that sometimes a cow grows up in this little transitional area. So to fix that, I'm just adding 2 signs over here. Little lava. That's going to leave the smaller ones to get through here because I still want to crush them. It's a bit of experience that we're getting. And also, burning them doesn't give us leather. It's just, you know, filter out the bigger ones so that they don't get clogged up. And now I can entirely encase this. Now we should be good to go to really get this going. And up in here, we'll have another belt that goes the opposite direction. And that's because if we crush things, so we're going to crush them upwards, right? The cow is going to grow up. Is gonna get its hitbox stuck in the second block up top. It's gonna go upwards, or at least its drops are gonna go upwards. So they won't get picked up by the chute that's underneath there. So we're using that belt to transport everything back to this guy, and then we'll mirror that on the other side as well. Now that being said, we also need a system that is gonna allow us to grab only wheat from the storage system. So we're going to grab some wheat as a filter, and then an IO, and then I think I can just do that as well. So now, yes, good. And that results in us only really needing cows, and that's it. I think starting out with 4 is probably enough. Boom. This way I don't need to, you know, breed them and wait for them to grow up. We've got full-grown cows to start off with. 1. And then 1 more. I think that should be enough, right? I don't want them to entity crown. I also don't want to have so many babies that it clogs up the machine. Which is why I went with a 2-sided setup. Now the only thing I need to do now is hook all of this up, which we can do, I think, by bringing this up. And that should start it all up. Hopefully it's going in the right direction. Probably not, knowing my luck. Oh, it is. Nice. And then we'll speed that up a little bit. I think 128 RPM should be fine. We can always add more cows if we want to. But I'm going to get the second part set up and just kind of mirror everything that we've done so far. Just I'll have to make sure that we invert the belts. All right, and that's it. Look, we're getting babies over here. We're having babies over here. And then I need to check if that is not working for some reason. And I think that is because that right there. Now, it's only going to take 20 minutes to get our first drops. So it's going to take a while before we can set our filters. While we wait, we can get started on this farm over here. Right here, we're going to do another sheep farm, another wool farm. Which, you know, we're going to do the basic setup, so we won't go into it. We're going to use the vanilla setup. I do want to do something with the shears, but I will fast forward, or I will build up the farm first, and then I'll explain what we want to do with shears real quick. Okay, so this is your basic setup, right? We've got the comparator, or no, not the comparator, the observer watching the grass block. It's gonna fire this guy, which is gonna be loaded up with shears. Now, I don't want to be loading these up manually, because, you know, it's not how we roll over here. So what I'm going to do is we are going to set up a little bit of an automatic shear production setup. So for production, we want to go from here, because this is a separate system, so we don't really have access to that system over here, I guess. This is a separate storage system on its own. I could bring in another. I could have it come from here, because we do need to continue this all the way over. If I do that, and then I guess we either go down. We go down, across, and then we can connect up here. There we go. Put this back real quick. And then we'll come in here, because I do have access to this guy. We'll call this leather input. Let's just do leather farm. We go here. We go iron. I need my key. Locked numbers on it. And then we can take this and put it up here. Right. That is going to... Let's go through the rafters, because that's what they're for. That is now looking at that, which we should see. Oh, right. We don't want to do that. Nuggets. I hope we don't. So that should only start firing if there's at least a stack in there. This will eventually have the same thing or the same frequency, but for now we'll do this. That's not what I wanted to do, because we're gonna request iron over here to leather farm, and we want, let's say, 2 stacks in backlog. Missing target. There you go. And now we should see packages leave and come over across over here. Now we know this is not the fastest system, so while we wait, we are gonna set filters for these products real quick. There we go. Beautiful. Now, are we getting packages coming over? Oh yeah, there they are. I see them in the distance. So we should eventually see this getting filled up, which is nice. And then it should automatically start making shears. And again, it'll take a while for it to really back up, but that's fine. We've got time. Okay. Oh. Of course it won't work. The most important part. There we go. Now we get shears. And then eventually that should tip over into the next one over here. Now, while we wait for these to fill up, we are going to grab sheep. Hello, Mr. Sheep. Also, might have to shear one, just so I have wool as a filter. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now these are not yet going to get sheared because they don't have shears in them just yet. That's fine. We can live with that. We can live with that. That being said, one more farm needs to be built. We have leather. We have wool, or things that we can turn into string at least. And that is going to give us half a backpack basically, because we're still missing chests. So we're gonna make a small little wood farm. I think I'm gonna go for 2x2 jungle wood, because that's easy to do, and you know, it shouldn't take too long to get a load of. But we've all seen wood farms. They're the spinny bits. So what I'm gonna do is do like small little time lapse, and we'll get right on that. And there we go. I'll use a void upgrade to set up our saplings over here. We don't really need anything else than just one drawer. Even that is going to be way too much, but these are going to grow up nicely. All of those woods and sticks are going to end up in there, but you know, I still need to get some of those to grow. And that technically is all the farms that we need to make backpacks. Now I'll design the backpack farm, which is going to end up over there somewhere. The backpack factory, I should say. Well, this is all just backing up so that we have some backup for all the raw materials that we need. I have a design for this side of the river, which, you know, it's going to be the receiving end of that farm. And we're just going to make backpacks over here. I don't really need anything else fancier than that. So I also don't have that much stuff. First things first is chests. We need to turn the jungle wood that we're making over there into chests, which means that we need to turn it into planks first. We'll start off with a similar setup as the shears at the wool farm, although we're using a vault instead of a chest, just so we can hold a little more of a buffer. And then over here, we'll do a chest like so. And then this will be our input right here. And then whenever there's 120 items in there, it's going to turn on. And that's going to turn this guy off. Now, this is just going to be that. This is going to be logs turned into planks. From here on out, we can put down another one of these. Do that. And then have a similar setup over here that just turns these planks into chests. So this one's gonna turn off if this one is full. This one's gonna turn on if it's full. Very important. From here on out, we go vault. This is gonna be our main output, right? And we'll put an extra vault over here, and this is where we're gonna put string. To get the string, we do this, and then I should have some crushing wheels in here. There. And then another one of these on top of this. Barrel on top of that. And then we'll have a belt that comes all the way over here. So that is going to do that. It's fine. And then over here we'll have input and a filtered output. Because we are adding a third vault, which is for leather. Good. So we're gonna filter on. Do I have leather? I do. Nice. Boom. Right there. Do I have string on me? I don't. But technically that is all the processing done, right? We got wood into chests, wool into string. Right there. And then we'll have simple outputs one at a time on each of these. Now all of these need a destination, which is what we're going to set up on this side. We're going to use a mechanical crafter because that's the easiest way to do this. And then I do want a way to always have a backpack ready so I don't have to use certain mechanics. I can just put that right there, depot up here, and an output filter, and that's just always gonna have one backpack on that depot for me to grab. Now let's set up our recipe, which is what I'm gonna use these 3 for. I'm gonna deposit here and here, take from here, put it over there, and this guy is gonna deposit in here, take from here, put him over there, and then this guy simply take from there, deposit into the middle. There we go. Now let's hook these up as well, and then over here we can simply do that, extend up in here. Now everything's connected except for this guy, which again should be fairly easy. Let's go up here a couple of blocks. Technically, without power, this should be it. Now for power, we are doing a simple setup like so. You go there, you go there. This will make sense when we're doing the building itself, but we're gonna put one up here, and then I need to set up a chain conveyor just above this. We'll go you all the way up here and back. There we go, and then of course this guy is gonna have to connect over to this guy. That's all looking good. Now let's figure out how we're gonna get them over here, which I'm probably gonna do with belts again. Eventually the goal is to have a little boat going from there all the way over here, and then in the very far future we'll have like boats all the way over the river. We can use this entire river to transport goods if you wanted to. But I don't have any invisible tracks yet. I don't have the phantom tracks yet, so we're gonna have to figure out a temporary way of doing it. I'm gonna have to make this as ugly as possible. Otherwise, this is gonna be an permanent fix, I think. So we don't wanna do that. Okay, so one of these is gonna be a reject filter, so that only the wool and the leather is gonna come out on the second belt, and then the wood's gonna come out here. And then I apparently am missing a couple of funnels, which is not good, of course. We could try and grab this one and then forget about you for a second. Now I need to hook it up to that system. So let me go and grab a packager. Let me go and grab some more funnels and tunnels and chutes, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're gonna look at this guy for wool. So if we have wool, 2 stacks in here, and then I need to set up a guy over here, which is going to be our general input. And this is my strategy to make it as ugly as possible. As ugly as possible by doing this. Temp input. I'll do the same over here. These are just to check the stock. That's a good sign. Okay. Now let's put some wool in this machine. Are we getting... Hopefully we're getting backpacks now. We are getting chests, which is nice. Jungle planks, it's good. We're making planks, that's good. Oh! Oh! Look at that! Backpack! Backpack! It's working! Yeah, now I'm gonna use the cannon for this, but I'm gonna paste in a little building. Hopefully it'll come out pretty nice. And then it's gonna take care of some of the terraforming as well. This is why I want to do it with a cannon. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to do a lot of block placing, and I don't want to do that right now. So, yeah, give me a second. I'll get it right. I'll get it going, and then we'll see what happens from there on out. Alright. We have an interior. It's nothing much. It's actually fairly small. The backpacks have been coming in steadily. Like, we've got 116 backpacks, which is probably more than we need for now. They'll be handy in the future, though. So that's cool. And then you might have seen in the time-lapse as well that we added some more foliage around. Oh, we've got a creeper as well. There we go. We added some more foliage. We've got some tomato plants for personal use over here. I added some more jungle trees just to tie into that little farm over there. And then we have some upcoming fields. I still need to plant in a lot of this. I'm waiting for some of the odd ones to grow up until I can harvest them. And then I added 2 more rotational farms just to up our wheat production a little bit, because the cows, they use a lot of wheat to be bred. And you see, we're already on 0 again. We are getting lots of product though, so that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, this field's still growing up a bit over there. That's fine. And then over here, I'll do this probably like in between episodes. In between shots, you might see this field get more and more populated with some flax, because that's always good. Eventually, I want to have a little bit of cornfield in here, so I'm starting that production as well. That being said, I think it's time for me to end the episode over here. I'll keep going on the field a little bit more, but I'm running out of time, so I hope you liked it. And if you did enjoy this episode, subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!